President Biden has made a significant announcement, emphasizing the pivotal role of electric vehicles, EVs, in the future. Despite numerous incentives to promote EV adoption, some major automakers like Ford and GM are slowing down production, raising questions about the public's resistance to electrification. The Biden administration has been actively working to transform American streets by phasing out gas-powered cars and promoting EVs. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is proposing a rule that could revolutionize the automotive landscape, aiming for 60% of all vehicles sold in the U.S. to be battery-powered by 2030 and 67% by 2032, a drastic shift from the current 6%. Additionally, the Inflation Reduction Act and similar legislation have injected a substantial $92 billion into the EV sector, fostering job creation and advancing the U.S. in EV and battery manufacturing. Why this strong push for EVs? Firstly, there's the environmental angle, as EVs are considered cleaner and greener, aligning with the Biden administration's commitment to reducing carbon emissions. Secondly, from an economic perspective, increasing EV production could diminish the U.S.'s reliance on oil imports and position the country competitively in the global EV market, challenging nations like China. Despite these efforts, the resistance from the public, as highlighted by automakers pumping the brakes on EV production, raises questions about the broader acceptance of electric vehicles. For the average consumer who cherishes their gas-powered vehicle, transitioning to EVs might feel like relinquishing the freedom to choose what they drive. The financial aspect poses a significant hurdle as well. The upfront cost of EVs can strain many budgets. Practical concerns also loom large. Imagine being on a road trip only for your EV's battery to die in the middle of nowhere. Charging stations aren't as ubiquitous as gas stations, and waiting for a charge can be tedious. Additionally, a considerable portion of the materials essential for EV batteries comes from overseas, primarily China. Ironically, while aiming for energy independence, there's a risk of heightened dependence on other countries for these crucial battery components. Furthermore, the extraction of these materials involves mines with questionable labor conditions, including low wages and, in some instances, child labor, raising ethical concerns. Biden's vision for easily accessible and affordable EVs clashes with the harsh reality. Some companies are facing significant consumer backlash, losing up to $200 million weekly and selling EVs at a loss. Despite a surge in EV sales and an increase in publicly available charging ports since Biden's inauguration, the practical challenges persist. Automakers like General Motors and Ford have invested billions in EV production, envisioning a future of emission-free cars and expanding their electric vehicle lineup. However, the enthusiasm they anticipated hasn't materialized. General Motors, for example, scaled back plans to boost electric pickup truck production, while Ford has also encountered obstacles, signaling a re-evaluation of their EV strategies. General Motors has hit the brakes on a substantial $1 billion of their originally planned $15 billion investment in EVs, signaling significant red flags for the EV revolution. The cars themselves are struggling to find buyers, lingering in dealerships as unwanted guests. Dealers are resorting to hefty discounts, rebates up to $7,500, aggressive lease deals, and lower interest rates, yet EVs continue to face challenges in gaining market acceptance. Despite the efforts to make EVs more affordable, they still come with a hefty price tag. Take the Ford F-150 Lightning, for instance, with a starting price around $50,000, significantly higher than its gas-powered counterpart, which starts at less than $37,000. The Inflation Reduction Act, a cornerstone of Biden's climate strategy, has led to substantial investments in battery plants and assembly lines. However, the anticipated boost in EV sales hasn't materialized, with expectations of 1 million electric cars to be sold this year falling short. Adding another layer to the complexity, automakers like Ford are reporting losses exceeding $60,000 for every electric vehicle produced. Looking across the globe, China emerges as a powerhouse in the electric vehicle arena, leading in manufacturing, battery technology, and possessing a rich reserve of critical minerals essential for EV batteries. In contrast, the United States lags in developing its own resources, partly due to anti-mining sentiments. Chinese firms are capitalizing on this disparity, expanding their global presence in battery and EV operations, effectively bypassing US restrictions and investing billions. Particularly in Europe, Chinese firms are strategically expanding their dominance in the EV market, prompting the US to respond with increased regulations. The Biden administration is actively developing rules that would mandate 2/3 of all new cars sold in the US to be all-electric within a decade. However, failing to meet these standards could subject automakers to fines, potentially leading to higher vehicle prices and creating a challenging situation for both manufacturers and consumers. Automakers like Ford, GM, Toyota, and even Tesla are feeling the impact. Ford, for example, recently announced a significant layoff of around 700 workers at its Detroit plant, responsible for manufacturing the electric F-150 Lightning pickup truck. GM and Toyota have also implemented layoffs to reduce costs. Even Tesla, a frontrunner in the EV market, faces challenges, with Elon Musk expressing concerns about the profitability of the highly anticipated Cybertruck during an earnings call. The demand for EVs is not aligning with or surpassing supply, suggesting a potential need to reconsider and scale back EV initiatives, according to industry experts. Sales of the F-150 Lightning, once the best-selling electric pickup truck in the US, experienced a sharp decline of about 46% year-over-year, attributed to high costs and range anxiety. One significant factor affecting consumer reluctance is the price difference, with electric pickup trucks often being more expensive than their gas counterparts by $10,000 to $20,000. Despite Biden's substantial financial support, Ford reported losses of $1.3 billion on EVs in the last quarter, equating to a $36,000 loss on each EV sold. The projections for the next quarter indicate even more significant losses, with Ford expected to lose $4.5 billion. In summary, these developments underscore that the EV market is facing challenges not initially anticipated. While there is a collective push toward cleaner and more sustainable vehicles, the transition is proving slower than expected. Consumers appear unwilling to pay premium prices for EVs over gas or hybrid vehicles. The political landscape further complicates matters, with opposing views on EVs evident between Trump, who opposes them, and Biden, who champions them as part of a broader environmental strategy. In contrast to Biden's environmental and economic strategy, Trump vehemently opposes electric vehicles, EVs, viewing them as a threat to traditional automotive jobs and the overall economy. Trump argues that EVs will lead to a crash in the auto industry, resulting in the disappearance of jobs, and claiming that these cars are prohibitively expensive and lack sufficient range. Trump's critique of EVs goes beyond mere skepticism of new technology. He envisions a return to the era of gas guzzlers and perceives EVs as a menace to established employment in the automotive sector. This sentiment was evident during Trump's recent rally in Michigan, a state pivotal to the automotive industry, where he voiced concerns about the industry's shift toward EVs, predicting disastrous consequences for jobs and economic well-being. Supporters of Trump's perspective argue that the rapid push toward EVs lacks sufficient consideration for its potential economic impact, especially on workers in traditional industries. They highlight the current limitations of EVs, including range, cost, and charging infrastructure inadequacies, as reasons to exercise caution before fully transitioning away from gasoline-powered vehicles. Ultimately, Biden's vision for an electric future is encountering significant obstacles, as major car manufacturers are pumping the brakes on EV production. The reluctance of consumers to swiftly adopt pricier electric vehicles underscores the challenges facing the widespread acceptance of EVs. Amidst these twists and turns, the future of EVs remains uncertain. Will they truly dominate our roads, or is the love for traditional gas cars resilient enough to withstand the electric wave? The ongoing debate raises questions about whether EVs are the inevitable future or merely a hyped-up phase in the evolution of the automotive industry. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below.